Hi guys, welcome to another edition here on Open Mic Night. This is probably a start of a series, we don't know. End of the day, it is what it is. We're going to literally be shooting the breeze, sitting back, talk about professional wrestling. As you know, for a while I've had a guest on the past of this very channel. I'm now up to 50 followers. I'm hoping to get more from this guy. But end of the day, it's the mic is all yours. Welcome to this very new show idea as such. Is no other than TNS Attitude, as I know him as Ollie Harper. How's it going, man?
Hey, how are you, Gav? It's lovely to be on your show. I feel really honoured. Congratulations for 50 subscribers. It seems like more and more people are just starting to discover this new channel every week, every day. So if there's any way I can help you, with that, I'm honoured to help. And yeah, hello, everybody. Me and Gav have been friends a long time. We've been friends about, oh gosh, since 2009. And we've always kept in contact, so it's been always cool. And obviously, from the original YWC days, Gav was actually the guy who told me that I should get on YouTube, and this was like 2010. So a lot has happened in all those years, but I'm really pleased and really honored to be doing this with you today, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I finally got you on because obviously I've got like new software and so on. You just tested it out and so on. Obviously I've had Nick Mason on in the past. I've had obviously Paddy from obviously the Wrestling Nerds. Now I've got Ollie on. But no matter how many times we will actually say this, that we've been, like he's mentioned already, we've been friends for years. We've been through the rough and the smooth of professional wrestling. It's been the ups and downs. And pretty much this guy, I would actually say, I feel like he's had enough of certain products in the wrestling world because he's invested so much money and time and effort into those products, and they're not starting to give him back. How do you feel like the landscape has actually changed since you started YouTube to obviously going forward in 2025, 2026?
Oh wow, Gav, that's a really good question, and I would absolutely give you a good answer. So obviously, when I came to YouTube, and when you came to YouTube, even back in like 2010, those days there wasn't really many alternatives. I mean, I think back then there was Impact Wrestling, TNA, Hulk Hogan, Bischoff were pretty much over there doing their thing. Kurt Angle was over in TNA. There was no AEW. There was no like really stepped up independence as there is now. WWE was kind of just doing what they were doing. I think around that 2010, let's just say it was like Nexus and all the rest of it. But again, WWE's product back in those days was just kind of going through the motions, of course, at the time with John Cena at the time being the main guy. I think Batista was probably around back then. It was this 2010. We're going back a little bit now, going back 15 years. Vince, of course, the biggest difference to then and now is Vince. And of course, Vince McMahon was over there running the roots. And obviously, Triple H was not in the position he is now. And TKO was not a thing. Of course, back in those days, WWE like signings even, and that's something I'll bring up, like autograph signings, as I'm sure that's one thing that I think where me and Gav were very much where our friendship really began was autograph signings and WWE autograph signings, and it speaks dividends. Like in those days, if there was going to be a WWE signing in the UK, it was a very big deal. People would go out and queue for hours on end, and I'm talking like 2009, 2010. I mean, I remember you, me, and your brother Sam. We queued to meet Matt Hardy and Beth Phoenix at WH Smith's, if you remember that, Gav.
Yeah.
And we
Killed my
waited like
legs that day, did.
the what? Sorry.
Killed my legs that day, did.
Yeah,
To say
but
we got there early hours in the morning.
but I remember we waited like 4 hours on a Sunday to do that, and we were right at the front of the queue. And I remember the queue just went so round. But back in those days, you get your merchandise signed, no problem. You get your photo. Okay, photos were a little bit hit and miss back in the day because I appreciate they probably had a lot of people they had to get through. But I have a lot of those old photos from those signings. And the one with Kane, I remember Kane when we met. That was where I met you. Was '09. It was like the Kane sign. It was like April '09, and Asda. But where I'm going with my point, it's like those old signings, you wouldn't get those now. And where we are right now in the era that we are, everything's so premiumized now, and everything is so capitalized in terms of money and higher ticket prices for shows. And like when they do an appearance in the UK, there's no sign in, it's just a photo op. You're not even, it's a quick snap on your phone and on you go. Um, the experience to actually be a wrestling fan in today's market is pretty hard. And I think that, like, compared to what we got back all those years ago to now is a huge difference, and it's not a good difference. You know, I feel really sorry for people who were thinking about going out to WrestleMania or whatever they've done the last couple of years, because things have been very much stripped back. There's a lot more money now that has to be spent if you want the same experience or something of similar. You know, Vince just seemed to have things a lot more on the now. I hope I'm not going on like a tangent here.
No, go ahead. Take as long as you want. The floor's all yours.
Oh,
At the end
cool.
of the day, you've spent shitloads on Mania.
Yeah, that's the thing. So where were we? So obviously, where the product was in 2010 felt very much a more affordable experience. Okay, so I went to WrestleMania. If we cast our minds back, I went to WrestleMania 29 and I went to WrestleMania 30, and both of those trips I went with other people, and I did those trips. Back in those days, those trips were quite cheap, really, for what they were worth. The pound and the dollar was always a lot stronger back in the early, like, noughties, 2013, 2014. I think you were looking at like 1.60, 1.70 to a pound, which if you were going abroad and you were going to like a wrestling show, that was incredibly cheap. Like, you were going to get a lot more for your money. Now in today's market, the pound is a lot bit more weaker. It's not as strong. But in terms of like the experiences, so like, okay, so WrestleMania 29, WrestleMania 30, we had fan access. You'd pay a general admission fee. You'd go, you'd meet probably 5-10 wrestlers a session. You'd get your VIP. You'd pay premium money for that VIP, but that would also get you your admission. You would then also get early bird entry, so you could go in, meet some of the guys who were signing earlier in the day. I remember when WrestleMania 29, we had the VIP for Ric Flair, ended up getting the Undertaker, and then I remember when we did go to that access session on the Thursday afternoon, we got in early because we were VIP. We met Zeb Coulter, Antonio Cesaro. We got who else did we get? Obviously, we got Taker. Trying to think who else. There was a few, but we got a couple of early names to kind of start the day, But you wouldn't get that now. And then if I'm talking like WrestleMania 30, that was the year that I got to meet Roman Reigns. I got to meet rookie year Roman Reigns, and I still have that picture. Like, and this is what I mean. Like, these things, you just wouldn't get these in today's market. You wouldn't get them. Not without a paywall being in. See, everything now in WWE is behind the TKO banner. So everything now has a paywall behind it. If you want an extra experience where you get to meet John Cena, expect to pay anything from $300 up. I mean, I know big shout outs for Love of Wrestling because I know they've got him for Liverpool and that's all sold out, but they had him on a really decent rate. I think he was only like 183 British to meet him on a photo op. And I think that's really good, to be fair, that they got him at a cheaper price. Whereas at TKO and, of course, with the guys over there and what they were doing with their epic photo ops in America, they were charging a lot more money to have Cena do the photo op. And it was only a photo at Mania, and that just sold out in no time. But what I would, so to really just to say, like, so I have spent a lot of money on trips, and I've done 6 WrestleManias. I've been, like I say, 29, 30, then had a break, then I did 38, 39, 40, 41. Okay, in those 4 years of going to WrestleMania, from 2022 to 2025, I can safely say that the experience has, I feel, the wrestling stuff from WWE's POV in terms of like fan experience has I would say it's kind of been squeezed more and more as the years go on. So what I'm getting at is, okay, so WrestleMania 38, you could argue, is probably the last affordable WrestleMania that I've done, because that was the last one under the old WWE travel packages. When I went to that WrestleMania, I I went on my own, but I spent $2,500, which at the time was about £1,900. £1,900. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate things are probably different rates back then, but £1,900, in that £1,900, in that gold package, which I ended up buying for Texas, for WrestleMania 38, that got me 2 nights of WrestleMania. That got me Friday through Monday, including Monday night, um, hotel. I got hotel, 2 nights of Mania, Raw after Mania, Hall of Fame, SmackDown. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all for that price. £1,900. £1,900. $2,500 if we're going to go USD, but I like to kind of keep this just to British money because that's what we use. And I was really sorry to see that they were no longer going to do it after that, because then they sold their travel packages to On Location. And of course, On Location, they came along in 2023 for WWE and started doing the travel packages. I remember when they went on sale, the original travel packages, or sorry, the On Location travel packages from 2023. And I was a bit like, yeah, they're a little bit expensive. Because when I was realizing what I got the previous year compared to now, in now being at the time of 2023 when I was booking WrestleMania 39 at SoFi Stadium, I was straight away realizing like it's not as good of a deal, because all of a sudden I'm not going to get the hotel included. I'm not going to get all these extra tickets included. So all I was literally getting was WrestleMania night 1 and night 2 for this really expensive price tag.
Yeah.
So you can see what I mean. I was a bit like, not great. Now, obviously, when I did LA, I went for 10 days. That was like a 30th birthday party, well, birthday to myself kind of thing. I'd always wanted to go to California. So it just made sense with LA and WrestleMania. It all kind of came together. And then obviously 40, or should I say, the night after, it was that Monday, wasn't it? The Monday after night 2 of 39 is when they announced the sale. And they announced, obviously, TK buying the WWE from Vince. And that's kind of where that was. Now, of course, I felt with WrestleMania 40, prices were still kind of okay-ish. But I feel where it started to really step up a gear is this year. And especially with Vegas, I'll be really honest with you. I felt that Las Vegas, this past year's Las Vegas, so WrestleMania 41, I felt a bit deflated with it all. I felt like it was a really expensive, very expensive trip. I felt the shows were not that great. Nothing really memorable. I mean, there was a couple of little spots here and there. I remember Punk main eventing night 1. And that was really cool to see. And of course, Seth and Paul Heyman siding up at the end of night 1. And, but I do feel like, I mean, it's cool. I am pleased to say I got to see John Cena's last WrestleMania live. Like, that's a really big thing to say I've seen. But I just think there was a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I felt like for what I paid for that Mania, and when I'm talking now, so I'll talk about where we are. So to kind of compare, so WrestleMania 38, everything I described for 1900, hotel and everything else, compared to WrestleMania 41. That year I did go with On Location because at the time that felt like the right option, because the prices of individual combo tickets for WrestleMania 41 were absolutely insane. And for what at the time they were offering, they were like, I think it was like $1,100. I paid like $1,100 for upper 400 level seats. This included night 1, night 2 of Mania, 3 days, should I say, 3 days of WWE World Priority Pass, There was an on-location welcome party which I went to. It's in my vlog on my channel at TNS Attitude for a quick plug. I don't know. You
I was waiting. It's took you near enough 15 minutes to plug your own shit. Jesus Christ.
Because I'm a humble guy and I'm humble. I didn't want to make it all about me straight away. I wanted to at least give you something to talk about.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I remember there was a welcome party at the Grand Prix Plaza. I believe that was on the Friday, and we got to meet like there was a few like superstar appearances. We got like Carrying Cross, Scarlett. I know they're not with the company anymore, but they were there. Carlito, Omos, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate were there. Who else was there? Oh yeah, and the LWO, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, they were there. So, and then there was like loads of food, and it was a buffet. And I thought that was cool. I enjoyed that. I thought that was a really nice element. I mean, when I converted it all back to British with what I got, I mean, I got that welcome party, night 1, night 2 of Mania, and then my WWE World Priority Pass, which I'll get onto because I think WWE World is a complete waste of money. Like, I honestly do. Unless you are going to go in there and spend XYZ amount of money on wrestling photo ops or autograph tickets. Yeah. There's fuck all to do in there. And I can swear on here because I know you swear like a trooper, Gavin.
Me, so. I'm PG.
But honestly, like, I just feel as though, I think where we are now, I just think that you're getting a lot less for your money. And they're charging you more, so you are paying a lot more. I mean, I was listening to Jim Cornette this afternoon. Actually, I was in town and I had Jim Cornette. There was a clip on he was talking about his reaction to Mark Shapiro's comments about WWE tickets aren't high enough; they need to be higher. And he was like saying that, like, talking about how Mark Shapiro was saying that Vince was pricing it to families, and Cornette was basically saying, you know, like, it's wild what some fans now are being almost outpriced with 42. I mean, some of the prices that are being thrown around with WrestleMania 42's on location packages are absolutely stupid. Like, I mean, some people were saying they're paying even higher. I mean, I looked at silver packages again, just out of curiosity. I just wanted to have a look, and they're even higher than they were when I was buying it last year. So, yeah, there's going to be I feel like really there's going to be a break somewhere here, and it's going to burn a lot of people out. But yeah, please continue.
That's what I mean. Just that was question one that was so detailed, unbelievable. I know when he goes on a bit, but he speaks the truth for how it is.
I apologize if I've gone on a bit, guys, but I just thought I'd try and give.
You're entitled to, because you've spent shitloads on Mania. I've noticed that for many years. It's like I've never been jealous of the guy. He's worked hard to, how to put it, put a mortgage on the line this day and age. But it's like when you look at the way I remember the days when yourself, Stevie Breach, freaking yeah, used to do all the breakdowns. Even Gemini 686, OGs like around we've been. I remember the breakdowns when people used to do. Oh, you could do this, you could do that, you could do this, you could do that. Break it down to make the viewers understand it. This day and age, you don't get a calendar straightforward as you used to. What you knew full well, you could easily save up on those days. This day and age, you just get a date when it releases, and that's the price you do.
Yeah.
You don't get this. The sad thing about it is, with us being OGs on YouTube for many, many years, that I always look forward to watching your vlogs, obviously, like I've mentioned in previous uploads, that it's thorough as much as you can give. If you see the real side of him beyond the camera lens, like you're seeing now, this is how pissed off he technically is. Because, end of the day, we look at wrestling as a hobby. Now it's the most expensive hobby. It's like, if you are pricing the way WWE is at the moment, I know I've mentioned this before, and I will mention it again, that if you are pricing out the product, improve the product. You know, make people want to tune in to buy into your product. I'm not saying bring the Attitude Era back, TV 14, edgier storylines, not, oh, we're relying on AJ Lee to sell our tickets for WrestlePalooza.
I do, I mean, you were just saying, you know, that when they, like, are really pricing out people. And I was just going to go back to talking about like such an example is WWE World. That is one of the biggest wastes of money going. Really, you get nothing unless you are willing to go in there and just want to go in that superstore and buy merch or go and sit and watch some panels. There's really not a lot to do. Now, granted, I was lucky enough to have the priority pass, and it worked well for like having that Sunday admission because I went and met Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I'll always. That's one of those highlights from Vegas. I think is I did meet Stone Cold, but again, Stone Cold Steve Austin came with a price tag. It wasn't like a free meet. It wasn't included with my admission. I had to pay for that. And I paid big for that, I'll be honest with you. And to anybody watching this video, Stone Cold Steve Austin is a rare signer. He's not one that comes around every year. He might sign now and then he won't sign for 3 years, and then he'll put his price up again. The last time Stone Cold did like a public meet and greet appearance before WrestleMania 41 was WrestleMania 38, and that was through his own beer company. And I think the prices were lower for that. But see, once Fanatics, it's Fanatics I need to really talk about here, because Fanatics obviously do a lot of distributing with all this stuff, and they put their prices on what they want, and WWE just kind of goes with it. But yeah, with Austin, I paid. How much did I pay? It's still kind of. I find it sweaty that I even mentioned this, but I will say it because I'm a proud wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan of a long time. And Stone Cold was always a guy I wanted to meet. He was always one of my heroes growing up, him and The Rock. And to say I got to meet one of them is an honour, even though it cost me £530 British for that combo. £530. You break that down, that's about £265 for each thing. So I think it was like, once I did all the conversions, it was like $265 for the photo, $265 for the autograph. And I got the vlog and I captured it, and that's cool. But I've got that photo and I'm happy. I'm proud of that photo. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's just this like, how much can you squeeze out of wrestling fans? And I think that's a question which we'll talk about. Like, how much can the WWE keep doing this? Like, how much more can they ask of fans who want to go to WrestleMania or go to a meet and greet? How much more are they going to just literally take from you, like squeeze out your? And I appreciate, we're all adults and we are all responsible for our own money and what we do. But again, even I'll be honest, like, I came off this WrestleMania trip 41 and I was just feeling a bit deflated. I think I felt like, apart from meeting Austin, which was really cool, but again, I paid the extra to do that. But other than that, and obviously I met Damian Priest, Bayley, and Jade Cargill. They were like the only other names they were the ones I did. But when I look around most of World, I just thought, you got to pay for everything. Like, they're charging $80 to get in. And even Stevie Breach said this to me. He was like, they're charging like $80 to get in. And you're literally going to walk in. You can stand from afar and watch the Pat McAfee show. I remember seeing Triple H was on the Pat McAfee show on like on the Friday, and this is how it is now. And like, where I see the fan friendliness is starting to really go away is how much they don't want to give you. So okay, like, I'll give you an example, and it's like with Triple H. So, little exclusive for you. I know I've never said this before on a YouTube video, but I'll say on here now. I'm remembering it. I remember when I went to the Pat McAfee show, I stood like a little bit near where they were doing it, and Michael Cole and Pat was doing it, and obviously Triple H. I remember like some people must have been committed to that from like the when they opened the doors at 9 a.m. because Pat went on at like 9:30, I think, something like that, like live on the morning. Like, Pat does them in the States. Yeah. So, because I saw Pat was doing Pat McAfee's show most of the weekend. He did one with Rhea, he did one with Hunter, and then he did one with Cena on the Monday. But I remember the one with Triple H. I remember all these fans, no bullshit, Gavin. They had all these. There were fans that were like standing right near like the front area, so like near the barrier, and they got Triple H merch with them with Sharpies because they were hoping to try and get like an autograph or something. Do you think they got their Funkos and their figures signed, Gav, when Triple H was coming off the stage? Do you think that Hunter went over and thanked them all for coming?
With him being all about the money this day and age, I doubt it.
He didn't do anything of the sort. You know what happened? There was Hunter came off the stage, and two security literally like ushered him off really quick, and some fans kind of like tried to walk almost up to where he was coming down, and the security just like pushed him back, and that was it. And that's all you need to know when we talk about WWE now when it comes to fan interaction. Unless it's behind a paywall or something of that nature, they're not going to entertain you.
That's what I mean. It's like when I saw on your vlogs about Wrestle World, and I'm like, or WWE World, whatever you want to class it as, and I'm thinking, why? You're trying so hard to be what WrestleCon is, but you're not delivering the same experience. It's like when I look at For Love of Wrestling, I look at like the most expensive ticket on there is $65 each.
Yeah.
You can't put a price tag on certain things. It's like, yeah, fair enough, it's memorable to have those 5 seconds with them, or as long as you want at a convention. Obviously, as we've done conventions in the past, but it's like, it's hard to explain the amount of money they want from the fans.
Yeah, it's quite insane, isn't it? I mean, it's really crazy when I think about it. I think, and this is a shout out to my buddy Mike who runs Immortal Seats. Sorry, another cheap plug to my friend Mike.
About Mike Stalking.
Yeah, you know Mike. Gav knows Mike. He does a Mike told me this a long time ago. He said the reason WWE does a lot more international shows now is because they go over there because they know they can charge much higher prices than they could charge to the regular like American fans on a week-to-week monthly basis. So this is why we're getting more international shows. And if they're not doing international shows over here or Saudi Arabia, which we'll get onto, or France or whatever, where they recently did the Paris show, they're just doing stadium shows in America because that's the only find of those stadium shows are really what they're able to then justify charging a lot more money for. Look at WrestlePalooza. That's going to be in a stadium. I think that's where, am I right? I believe that's where Royal Rumble was this past year. This past year's Royal Rumble is the Lucas Oil Stadium, and that's exactly where they're doing WrestlePalooza. So they're using certain stadiums again because they know that these are the areas where they're going to charge and they can justify it. Well, it's a stadium, so we can charge more. Or, we're going to go international, so we're going to go to the UK and do a Raw or a SmackDown, and we'll just charge this big amount of money. Like, you know, I recently came back from a Raw. I went to Raw in Birmingham, which I'll be posting my vlogs very soon. Look out for it, guys. But that was expensive. I mean, I had like level 100 like seats. I had a bit of a restrict view because Beepulse Live does not have like a big TV screen over the ring. You know, like most modern arenas, they have like at O2. You know, they had like the TV across, a bit like, you know, so you can actually see. Even if you were in the really shit seats, you could still look and see the video of what's going on. Well,
I went there when it was Gladiators back in the early 90s.
Yeah, so I like my point. Like Beepulse didn't have that, so we were on a side where I was, and I couldn't see the actual Titantron, so I couldn't see any of the vignettes that were going on. Then in the video packages, all I could do is hear them, and then all is the wrestlers come out to the ring from a side view, and I could see all the ring stuff, but you couldn't see all that, and I just thought that was a bit kind of crappy. That it was a bit of a limited view. You couldn't see any of the Tron stuff, which I just thought was a bit lame. And I just thought, Jesus, like I spent 177 quid for that, and I just thought it just seemed a bit crap that was what we got. But again, it just, to me, it seems like this is the TKO thing. Like, they don't seem to give a damn where they sell tickets in these arenas. So what TKO is seeming to do now is they'll just charge like, they're not even bothered if there's a limited view. They could care less. They'll still put a high price on it because in their eyes, it's like, oh, well, you're still here. You're still in the venue. And it's like, well, yeah, but I'm not seeing all the action. You
Yeah.
know, this is TKO, and they just don't care. They will shamelessly continue to sell these tickets, these crap tickets that have got no like visual appeal to them when you get in there, and you don't get a very good view. You get it's an obstruct view gap. You're just seeing like it on a corner. I remember at WrestleMania 40, the view was a little obstruct, and I just remember thinking, fuck's sake, like I remember that particular Mania just being on a corner, and I felt kind of bad because I had someone else with me. But again, it was just like, Jesus, like the camera. I felt bad because I booked both tickets, but again, it was like where the camera was, it was like blocking part of the ring. So obviously, there's a camera going around the ring, and that's like following all the main actions. So Gorilla Position can obviously make sure they get the best shots for TV. But again, that really makes the people on the corner then suffer because we can't see all the action. So it's limited view. We got a great view for the entrance at 40, though. I got to see all the entrances. But again, it's not the point. You pay all that money to go to WrestleMania. You should expect a good view wherever you're sitting, not, oh, well, there's a corner, there's a bloody pylon in the way, and it's limiting my view. But, this kind of goes back to TKO just not seeming to care. I mean, I remember seeing a Facebook post and somebody put up like they went to the Royal Rumble. I think it was in Tampa. It was the Tampa Bay Rumble the other year at Tropicana Field. And they said like, oh, where they were sitting, the view had fucking porta potties all in the. I don't know if you've seen that, or I might have sent it to you, but they had like the Rumble. These guys had these tickets for Rumble. I think they paid for them, but where they were sitting, they were right near the porta potties, and the porta potties were almost like blocking part of the entrance from where they were.
That will piss me off.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
That's what I mean. I feel like at the moment they just rush everything. It's like everything they put together. Okay, fair enough. We'll put WrestlePalooza on. Okay, here you go. 3 weeks build.
You know, I think that with WrestlePalooza, it's very. You look at. I want to get on to talk about AEW a little bit because obviously I know like where my head's at right now. I'm starting to just really want to enjoy the AEW stuff a lot more now. I feel like I've given my money to WWE over the years. I've been to WrestleMania. I've done little side trips. I've done Money in the Bank, Bash in Berlin, Survivor Series, War Games. I've done all these little trips. They've had my money, but I can see now that where we're going with the WWE side of things as a solo traveler, it's just getting more and more expensive to a point where I don't see it as doable or financially justified. Whereas, AEW, they are happily coming to the UK every year. They're not there's no bullshit with that. They're doing all in twice in Wembley. They've just come off a really good 18,000 plus Forbidden Door show at the O2 Arena.
Beats WWE record.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, they really did a good job with that AEW show, and I just remember, I've just got it right here, and I'll show it. Look, even still got my chair. There it is. Look, right there. That's my chair from the show. But they even threw a chair in, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. That came in. I didn't pay overly expensive for my tickets. I think for what I paid, I got 15 matches. I was a row A or whatever it was, right near the ring. They dropped them, and then the prices even dropped. I mean, I paid like $500 for my ticket, which I didn't think was bad. I mean, for what I paid, that to me was like old WWE pricing from like 2022 for ringside seating. So I didn't mind paying that. I mean, that price that I paid for that ringside experience for AEW, they were charging for the Birmingham Beepulse Live Raw ringside £2,000, and it didn't even come with a chair.
Yeah,
absolutely insanity, mate.
That's what I mean. It's like everyone just looks at these brand endorsements. Like, yeah, fair enough. We'll talk about AEW. Yeah, we talk about WWE. But you wonder why AEW is starting to capitalise is because WWE is leaving a hole in the market. As Ollie previously mentioned about the Saudi Arabia idea, how did you feel about that when that's actually been announced? Because people know full well that I was not at all happy about this, even though
Hmm.
I've stopped watching the product. I've been campaigning for many years. Don't bring WrestleMania to the United Kingdom. Oh, you're just saying this because you watch the other brand. And I'm like, no, I'm saying this for saving your pockets. And that's where it's going to go and go and go. And I feel like it's not coming back at all to the United States from 2020.
8.
Yeah, 2028, because that's when the due of the renewal of the Saudi deal. People may blame TKO and Triple H, but Vince McMahon put this in place before he left the company. So they've got to honour that for 10 years. So if they renew it, then it's Triple H and TKO's fault. How did you
Oh,
feel about it?
how do I feel about WrestleMania going to
Leaving the
Saudi?
United States, going to Saudi Arabia.
Oh wow! And this is you're getting an exclusive here because this is something I was going to absolutely make a video on. I'm just obviously in the process with the vlogs, but I'm really pleased because I will absolutely
Before he
do a
says
video.
any more, cheap plug down below is his link.
But yeah, no, I can honestly say, and I'm gonna say this in the nicest way because it's not the Saudi fans that I've got a problem with. I don't have a problem with Saudi the fans. The fans are still fans like you and me and everybody else. They get these shows. They've had Crown Jewel. They've had Night of Champions. They've had the greatest Royal Rumble ever. They've had loads of shows over the years, and that's one thing. But I think that where people are outraged is the fact that you've got something like WrestleMania, which is such a Americana of an event, of a celebration of all things wrestling, that all these other companies piggyback on it, WrestleCon, etc., the collective GCW, they all come together, they all put on shows during the weekend. But now, here we are, it's Saudi Arabia, and it's like, they don't get a good rep. You know, the human rights in Saudi Arabia are not great, are they? Let's be honest. And this is going into, women don't have rights in Saudi Arabia. They don't. They do not have rights. It's quite a shit show, really. And I think that just in terms of what they go for, the rules are just very odd over there. They're not like the West. They're not like Western countries. So I think that where a lot of people have got anger is the fact that Saudi Arabia, money in Saudi Arabia is like sand. It's just there. They can any money, they throw any kind of money. They can overpay for anything and get it. They paid 100 million for Royal Rumble, and is it another 250 million for WrestleMania? So that's 350 million dollars going straight in WWE's accounts, in TKO's capital, before they've even put these shows on. And I think what it comes down to, it's the fact that you've got Saudi Arabia who are 100% pulling the strings with this deal. They want to make sure that they can get the most out of their investment. And in terms of like what they want on the show, they want all these legends to come out of retirement. They want Stone Cold. They try to get Austin. They want to get The Rock. But it's how it translates back to fans who have been supporting wrestling since the since the 80s, since the 90s. And where I look at it, you can't just come on here and go, oh, well, London should have had it. Well, okay, but are London willing to pay out the money that WWE wants? Probably not. Or France should have had it. Well, was Paris willing to give the money? No. They've got passionate fans, yes, but at the end of the day, it's the money that these countries are willing to spend on WrestleMania. It's like the World Cup. It's like the Olympics. They bid for it. And at the end of the day, Saudi was just willing to come along and throw this money at Saudi Arabia, throw this kind of money at hosting WrestleMania. Now, is it going to be a fan-friendly WrestleMania? Well, I'm sure the people that go, they'll be able to comment on that. Do I see them doing WWE World? Probably will. They'll absolutely will. They'll do the WWE World thing. Do I expect WrestleCon to be there? Absolutely not. Because WrestleCon's built on second party, third party. It's not affiliated with WWE in any way. Vendors go there. They book guests. I don't see any vendors I know making the trip to Saudi Arabia with said talent. Oh, I'm going to take 3 talent with me to WrestleCon in Saudi Arabia. It's never going to happen. You know, it's just not. And at the end of the day, where we are right now, I think the bigger problem is it's not even just Saudi, because I know that this, you know, I've watched loads of videos on here of people's reactions to this news. You know, the press conference was awkward because I think a lot of the talent quite clearly don't want to be doing this, but they're contracted. You know, the likes of Stephanie Vaquer and Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, even Triple H. None of them look very happy. They just announced it like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Saudi Arabia," and there was no press. It was just a very flat. I think you could hear every fart that flew in that room because it was just so like awkward. It felt just like, oh, we've just announced somebody's died. I mean, that was how it felt. I mean, it wasn't like
Taker was dressed for that, to be honest, and so was Shawn Michaels.
All right, what did you say, Gavin? I didn't catch that last bit.
I was saying so was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels dressed for it.
Yeah, like it
even
just
Logan
looked.
Paul, it just looked like mannequins standing there.
Yeah, it looked very formal. It didn't look like loose and yeah, let's celebrate. Like yeah, like no, it was just awkward. I mean, yeah, it's I think, and like I say, what I also think is where we are right now. It's the problem that now they're setting this up. It's like okay, 2 years, 2027, they're going to Saudi Arabia. And I think fans who like to plan are going to be very angry now because they know that, okay, 2027, it's not going to be in America. It's not going to be in the UK. It's not going to be in Europe. Oh, it's in Saudi Arabia. Like, oh my God. Like, you know, some people are optimistic. Some people are even thinking of going. I mean, I'm not going. I have my own beliefs and I just don't want to go. But I know people that are thinking of going, and more power to them. If they want to go and do that, that's their choice. That's their money. It's what they want to do with their money. But I would say, like, the bigger problem that people don't really talk about is, like, not just the Saudi deal, but it's the aftermath. So once you have now spent, well, once WWE knows they can go to Saudi Arabia that year, they got 100 million for Rumble. 250 million for WrestleMania 43. Okay? So why would they go anywhere else? Why would they go back to America? Why would they go back to England? Because if they're not going to pay that kind of money, the arrogance will get them and they'll go, well, we'll just go back to Saudi. We'll keep going back to Saudi. We'll just go back to like Vegas again. They're never going to go back to these other places that were willing and able to when they could. I mean, the original WrestleMania schedule was, what was it? New Orleans next year. 43 was at Nissan. Not Nissan. It was in Tennessee. 43 was going to be in Nashville. And so forth.
Changed.
And that's all changed. So, you know, I don't think we are looking at a fan-friendly business now. We're looking at something that is now heavily even more is how much we can monetize the business, but how much we can plan ahead. So they know, okay, $250 million is going into them. I mean, they've already got it, but they've got that now. That commitment is there for 2027. You know, they can't. It's just, it baffles me. It really does. But things like this do ruin it because then you know, well, they're not gonna. It's gonna be hard to go elsewhere.
That's what I mean. It's like disliking a video is not going to make any difference. It's like when they said, if I remember rightly, they had 300,000 people disliking the video and saying, you sellouts, AEW. Yeah, fair enough, you can say all that, but it's not going to make any difference. If the only way you're going to make a difference is if you tune out the product, if you not watch the product, not just say, oh, I'm tweeting my display. Oh, it's like Triple H from a few years ago. I'm just tweeting my displeasure, but I'll still continue watching the product. That's not going to send a message to them.
No.
Because if the ratings started to decline, and then you've got the likes of AEW on the rise, which they're going into All Out this coming weekend, which myself and Ollie are highly looking forward to. You know, you get a
Yeah.
mixture of everything what you need as a wrestling fan. And some fans, yeah, fair enough, they shoot it before they even said it and watch it. They need to give it benefit of the doubt for like 2 months max. If you don't like it by then you won't like it at all. But I've
Yeah.
seen no end of people on social media now turning heads. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give AEW a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is why AEW did so well in the very beginning, because you go back to 2019, this was again a different reason why WWE wasn't doing great business back in those days, but that was because at the time Vince was writing terrible television. Talent was being misused back in 2019, and WWE wasn't very hot in 2019. Talent really, the shows weren't very good. They were very skippable. You didn't have to watch Raw and SmackDown all those years back because the shows were terrible. But AEW capitalized on that. They were the hottest thing going. They had Jericho as their world champ. Moxley jumped over there at the first Double or Nothing show in 2019. Kenny Omega. And I remember back in those days, this was under under Vince. He didn't want anybody leaving because he knew of AEW, and they were under threat straight away. He was like, no one is leaving because as soon as they leave, they're going to just jump over to All Elite Wrestling. And obviously, AEW over the last couple of years has kind of been going up and down. I feel like, they've had some knocks here and there, with obviously like Punk and Cody and all that, but they always bounce back. Okay, do they bounce back as good as before? But I would say where they're at now, they're absolutely focusing on the right stuff now. They're focusing on the right internal talent. They're not snapping up every former WWE star like they used to do. They're actually focusing on good stories, and I think what they also are really good at doing is actually giving you value. And I think one time I used to think, geez, like, does Tony Khan need to give us like 15 matches? Like, this is wild. Like 15 matches? The show's 5 hours long. I mean, I remember when I would like sit and watch these shows live. I mean, I still try to when I can, but like during like COVID, I'd watch most of them live, and I remember watching like some of the earlier Double or Nothing shows, and I was watching them till like 5 and 6 in the morning because that's what time they finished. We're on for 5 and 6 hours because there was so many matches. But when I look at it now and I think about, okay, kind of comparing All Out's card on Saturday, you've got what, 15 matches, and WWE's only doing 5 matches. But I bet you any money, All Out will be the cheapest show to go to if you were to be there in person. Yeah. And you're going to get more matches. You're getting more value. You're getting more bang for your buck. And WWE is just, this is where AEW can really shine. Because if you're a consumer and you like money, you like to get something for your money, AEW, man, they're putting on these thick shows with all these matches and all this content and all these variety of talent and variety of wrestlers. I know where I would want to go and spend my money. I'm going to spend my money on the show that's going to give me the most for my money. I'm not going to go to the show that's going to be just 5 matches and a couple of some promos, and you might get 5 on this event, but if you go to a TV taping or a TV live show live, well, yeah, we'll give you 3 matches or 2 matches. Like that Raw in Birmingham. I think the only matches I can really remember from that show, I remember there was AJ and Finn. That was quite good. That was quite a solid match. And Roxanne and Rhea. They're about the only 2 matches on that show I can even remember from a Raw show on Netflix in Birmingham. So, it just shows you.
That's what I mean. It's like when you mention about that, it's like with the WWE at the moment, they always capitalize on the moments. We've noticed that but the worst thing is, you're not future-proofing yourself doing that, because I've already done a video on this. WWE's going to struggle by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've not got no big stars like they once made. They just rely on those moments. But the worst thing about it is when they put clinic of these sort of matches on the weekly product as well as the PLEs, they're easily forgotten because they're overshadowed by the moments.
Yeah, I know. Paul Heyman was on X a weeks back, or on Twitter, or you say Twitter,
Yeah.
and he was saying that like he was talking about the talent who he feels could main event WrestleMania or be like the stars of tomorrow or like in the next couple of years, who he sees like main event in WrestleMania, and he was like, and he said Rhea Ripley, Bron Breakker, and that was kind of where he was at. There might have been a couple more, I can't remember him exactly, but I think that is a big thing to say, because I don't know, the new stars, and I got nothing against them, I really don't, but they're nothing like the old stars, are they? Like, they're not household. They're not going to get you the house. You know, they're not going to fill the house. I mean, you got a talent like Punk. Punk will do that. He's popular enough and he's big enough to be that draw. AJ Lee is another one who, you know, she's got that appeal. She can draw. Austin at the time for WrestleMania 38, he drew a house. You know, they sold that WrestleMania on him being back. They didn't have to promote it as a match, but they promoted it as an appearance that everyone just was like, well, he's going to have a match with Kevin Owens. It's quite clear as day. I feel like, unfortunately, WWE now are so more, they're more pressed on just selling WWE as a company brand and a name, like Disney. They're not actually looking at the quality of stars they're pushing as much. You know, they're not focusing on building the next 3 and 4 guys that will take these shows into like the next 6-10 years. They're just not going to do it. You know, they run people as long as they can, and then they'll just look at the next legend who can keep the ball rolling. So like when Cena wraps it up at the end of the year, you know, they've sold this whole year out with PLEs because they've been John Cena's last PLEs. Okay, that's fine, but then what? Because then they're going to have to go to the next person, which will most likely be Chris Jericho. If Jericho comes back next year, they'll absolutely be slotting him in somewhere, and you know they'll do that.
Yeah, that's the thing is with that. It's like, remember when he did wrestle within the last couple of years with AEW? Oh, he's too old, he should retire and all this lot. And then WWE fans will lap this up.
100%. They make me laugh. If he's in AEW, they absolutely insult it. Oh, he's past it. He should retire. Fat Jericho.
Same with Punk. Same principle with Punk.
Same with Punk. Then they go back to WWE and it's all, oh my god, they're coming back to WWE. It's just such double standards. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's just this day and age that even though we've been through social media through so much, like supporting TNA, but I don't support TNA more because I can see them being bought out. They've already started to try and pull the trigger on NXT Homecoming, sort of the backlash with TNA stars against the Homecoming product. It looks like they're doing an invasion angle by the looks of it at some point that people are predicting, and why? Just buy them out already. That's what I mean. It's like, who would have thought when we look at All Out that I'm highly looking forward to see what Kyle Fletcher could do with Hangman Adam Page. I know they literally had a clinical match not that long ago, but for the title, this proves how much AEW love to future-proof themselves. Even though they've literally got no Will Ospreay, no Swerve Strickland, no other talent that are out injured. Eddie Kingston's coming back casually, you know, but they've still got that drawing power because of the way Eddie Kingston is. It's just mad to think how much they've actually future-proofed themselves ahead of time. That's why I feel like they were producing the way they've done with Kyle Fletcher being the Don Callis family member. And I'm waiting for a fallout at some point with the members. Every family has a fallout. But it's like when you look how much they've future-proofed themselves, now Will Ospreay's off, Kyle Fletcher's in the fold. You know, that revolving door, what sort of Ring of Honor used to do with the big stars. The Christopher Daniels, the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes, the Kevin Steens, the Tyler Blacks, who's now Seth Rollins in WWE. That's what I love about that revolving door situation that AEW has. How do you feel the way they've handled the likes of Kyle Fletcher going forward to being the face of the company? Would you like that idea, or not have a run with the title? How do you feel?
So what I like about AEW is, and I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying about all these guys that are out injured, is the fact that they have quite a thick roster. So they have so many talent on the payroll that they're able to really be more flexible with who they put into these spots. I think Kyle is a really, really good talent. While I don't think I don't think he'll win on Saturday. I do think that it's good that they are at least giving him a chance, and they're giving him an opportunity to go up against more of a veteran guy like an Adam Page. I think that is good. It at least gives them something to do. I feel like maybe if Will wasn't injured, or Swerve wasn't injured, or Kenny Omega wasn't off filming Street Fighter, then there'd be another space there. But they're going with this. Kyle Fletcher.
I heard Kenny turned down the role, if I remember rightly, because of his injuries.
Oh, I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
I think it just shows you, like, hey, they're building talent. There's nothing wrong with that. They're building talent, and it just shows you smartly how when they have recently got through the 2300 arena residency in Philly. No cheap plug. I mean, I've been in that arena. I was there over WrestleMania 40 weekend. I did there was an Extreme show there on the Friday. I've been in that little venue. It's not a big venue, dude. The 2300 is small, but in a theory, I mean, it's a small venue, but it looked good. It looked good on TV, and it's good because they can trial things out. If they want to see how people react to certain talent, they can try it out. They're not in a big arena, they're only in these smaller venues, but they can still see, like, oh, Kyle's getting a reaction, okay, well, let's see what we can do with him. Or, oh, well, we're going with somebody like one of these younger girls that's there, like Tekla, and I like Tekla, Toxic Spider. I think she's someone to watch. I think they're going to do good with her. I see what they're doing with Tekla and like Queen Aminata and all those. I think the women's division is really strong in AEW. 100%. They've got Tony. She's doing a great job. Tony Storm's doing a fantastic job. I feel like some of the girls that are over in the E would do so much better in AEW. The one that comes to mind straight away is Julia. I like Julia a lot, but I feel like even though she's the US champ, even though she's the US champ in WWE, it doesn't mean anything. No one cares. It's like, oh yeah, you got the US title, so what? Like, she's not doing anything. Like, they paired her with Kiana James and they put a prop on her, but it doesn't. She's not connecting with the audience. Yeah. I feel like, at least with what they're doing in AEW, and this is where I think a lot of fans kind of overlook all this, but they do give the women a lot of opportunities. I looked at Collision this past weekend. The past week's Collision, it was the last show they did from the 2300 arena. Dude, they did like a 10 women tag with all the face women against the heel women, and you had like Megan Bain, Penelope Ford, and then I think like Triangle Madness was on the team, like Tekla, Sky, and Julia, and then they faced Holly Cameron, Tay Mello, Tay J, Anna J, and they built like they did that, and Tony Storm was on commentary, and it was entertaining for what it was worth. But that's a good way of building building the girls, I think.
Yeah, it's like when Tony Storm's come out this week. She's a lifelong supporter of AEW. She felt like when she was in WWE, she didn't fit that mold and what they were going for, which I can totally understand. Because even though she was in, if I remember rightly, NXT UK, then transitioned to America, that gimmick, the Rockstar gimmick, didn't work for her.
No.
And I love the way they actually tried that with AEW, but then she did her own thing. Tony Khan's always open hands with helping wrestlers out to express who they want to be, which I do like. It's like, even though sometimes the medical bills are too expensive, Tony Khan will pay for it. It's like Eddie Kingston and Prime Exhibition. he's coming back from knee surgery and that lot. A year-long rehabilitation.
Yeah.
His insurance couldn't cover it. Tony
Mhm.
Khan just went, here's the checkbook, done.
Yeah. He's got money.
That's what I mean. You don't get that same respect. They always say respect your peers.
Mhm.
But I feel like with WWE, they do not respect the talent as much as they make out.
It just makes me wonder. I mean, you get little things that happen that do when you start to hear things through the grapevine, like the news that came out about obviously Cross and Scarlett,
Yeah.
and they were like Karrion Cross was saying like, you know, TKO offered him a deal. He looked at the deal, but Scarlett wasn't in the deal, and then he was like, I need you to add Scarlett to it. So what did they do? They took the deal off the table, and he was just let go with him and Scarlett because he challenged them because they were basically not offering his wife a deal, which was a bit ridiculous.
That's what I mean. It's like Karrion Cross, I will admit, is a fantastic what he does, but he cannot work on his own. You need Charlotte a part of that atmosphere.
I think Cross, he's a fantastic wrestler. He's a good wrestler, but he's a very, very good human being, and I mean that he is. Him and Scott, I've got a lot of time for both of them. They're both very good people. I've met them both at loads of events now, and I'm absolutely going to come to For the Love of Wrestling. And I will try and meet them again, get another photo with them because they're just good people. I know you don't do the doubles, but I always enjoy.
To be honest, I've never actually met them two.
They're really nice.
No, the thing is, I've been watching Karrion Cross since TNA. Yeah. I watched him there when he was Killer Cross. I won't mind that regime again. I love his new theme music, what he's been putting out. I loved his documentary. He's an inspiring person to, if you ever get into vlogging and so on like that, he's inspiring to watch.
He's even in a movie. He's even got a movie coming up, some Sundance Festival movie or some movie he's in. And it's a non-wrestling movie, but he's even doing that. Like, there's always something. He's always involved with something. He's very creative. And I think, like, his book's out now. You can get his book, even though it's not, you can't get it in the UK yet till mid-October. But if you want to get it early, you can always get it off Amazon.com. But,
by the way, I was not sponsored by him, by the way, to plug his own biography.
No, just to talk about, like, Cross, Scarlett, like that. You got to look at it like this. They're good people, right? I remember you saw his. Did you see his doc when they were talking about him getting let out of his contract?
Yes.
It was like, yeah. So did you see the clip when they were at the SummerSlam meet and greet, and some fan literally went up to them and he was like, "Oh, are you guys done for the day?" And he was like, why? And he's like, oh, I missed out on getting a photo op. And then Scarlett was like, oh, just jump in, I'll pay for it. Do you remember when?
Yeah, I saw that. It was the same one where he was with all the people that was interviewing for his documentary or vlog, whatever you want to class it as. He bought them all coffee and it didn't get delivered, so he went out in a taxi to collect it and come back.
Yeah, good. He's just a good person. Good human. He's somebody you just know, like, he cares. He cares. And that's the thing. He cares, but he needs to go to a working place where they care about him because obviously WWE didn't care about him or his wife.
To be honest, I'm not being funny, but when you look at that prime example where Karrion Cross cares, I'm surprised they didn't think of building the product around him. Because he has that same oozing person the way Cody Rhodes technically is.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's got an aura about him. He really has, and it's sad that they never really pulled the trigger with him. They had him in a really meaningless feud with Sami Zayn this summer, and all that feud was to put Sami over. That's all it did.
Yeah.
And then Sami went on to get the United States Championship. And by the way, I must say I find Sami very boring right now. He's another really.
I'm not being funny. He's had that many underdog stories. Jesus Christ! I'm surprised he hasn't got his own movie.
I just do not care for him. I miss Kevin Owens. I really hope he gets better soon. He obviously had neck surgery, successful neck surgery, but he'll be back. Cody's obviously just come back for going to be wrestling Drew at WrestlePalooza.
How many times do we have to see that?
What, Cody and Drew?
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we saw it.
I saw it. Let's just say the boring feud they've actually put. It's like, fair enough, we mentioned about AJ Lee like coming back. Fair enough, we expected for one match. No, she's apparently full-time deal, and I'm thinking, okay, what can you actually do after this? Are you going to challenge Becky Lynch for the IC title at Survivor Series if that's the one that's next, if I remember rightly? I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you say about Julia having the US title, it's just a prop. Yeah. Because all the mid-card titles on Becky because she's got the title at the moment.
Right. Exactly. It's just, yeah. It's just one of them. I think some things just don't really make any sense in WWE, and they're just there and they just happen. But yeah, one of them. You got anything I want to ask?
No, have you?
Uh,
Other than plugging your social media again, probably. Don't worry, that's going to be in the description down below.
Well, like I say, I really appreciate coming on today, Gav. I know you always enjoy content creating, and I know you've very much congratulations, Gav, for your over 3,000 followers on TikTok. I don't use TikTok, but I know this guy is pretty popular on there in that community. I guess, what would you call it? The TTWC.
It's still classed as IWC.
Right.
Because it's internet based, but it's like, that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, fair enough, I'm popular on this, and I've literally started this from the ground up like I did back in 2010 with Gav Inox, but focused that on more of vlogs because of the amount of death threats I had and that lot. That's why I packed in talk about professional wrestling. That's why I started fresh and get new audience and so on.
Yeah, well, you're doing a good job, Gav, and I like the fact you're passionate and you keep these. You like to continue to make content wherever you are. You always find a place, and you always find an opportunity to, show your voice and have your voice be heard by whoever wants to tune in. But yeah, I'll do my little plugs. If you are new and you haven't ever come across me before, obviously I'm Ollie, aka TNS Attitude. You can follow me over on my YouTube channel at TNS Attitude on youtube.com for all things professional wrestling. I'm at 2,387 subscribers, so if you want to try and help me get to 2,400, that would be super duper. Over there, I do a lot of vlogs. I do content creating. All my WrestleMania trips, which I've been talking about on this interview, on this podcast, are over there from day by day, episode by episode. WrestleMania 38 through 41 in their full vlogs, as well as WrestleMania 29 and WrestleMania 30 if you really want to go back. I've got vlogs on there from Survivor Series War Games. I do talk about like cheat guide videos about booking WrestleMania. I don't really know if they are whether they would stand up as well in time now, because obviously of everything we spoke about.
They're probably about 20. I would say 20 times more than when you first did them.
Probably are. I do unboxing videos. I like to do videos about anything I collect. So obviously wrestling memorabilia. I always like to put videos up about that. I also recently just done a vlog with Gav. Gav's in the vlog. So if you want to see Gav and me and our friend Paddy in London, then you can tune in and watch the AEW Forbidden Door London vlogs. There's about 7 episodes. So they are all on in their entirety. And soon I'll be putting up the Monday Night Raw Birmingham vlogs. So there's a lot to come from me and the channel. As I say, if you are new to that over there on that channel, please do hit the subscribe button and let me know you come from here, because that's even cooler that we can get this community more moving around and everyone can support everyone. And of course, if you are new on this channel, please do give Gav a subscribe. He's a good guy, and I'm glad he's doing this and keeping the ball rolling. So thanks, Gav, for your time today.
No problem. That's the thing is, end of the day, yeah, we may say some negatives towards professional wrestling sort of concepts, but you got to understand our passion is different to people. It's a different person to different person. You may like the product or not like the product, but you want it corrected, the product. End of the day, we do accept wrestling for what it is. If we're not happy, we just use the power button called turn off.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I've turned off WWE since SummerSlam, as people know, and I've the final straw because of obviously the backstory between obviously Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon and all that lot. Bringing him back was the wrong time, you know, because end of the day, when people said to me, "Oh, give it a chance, it was going to thrive at Mania. As soon as Mania hit, my reaction was, if only I could ring Ollie to see what he feels, because he's there live. That's how first reaction was. And then I was literally, okay, I'm going to be watching it after. See what progresses after Mania. Didn't improve. Brock Lesnar's back. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's like the problem is, yeah, I've mentioned about AJ Lee bringing her back. I'm not happy about it. Because you've got far superior women on that roster. Deserves that sort of spotlight by now, and you're not giving it. That's my thoughts. Tiffany Stratton can fuck off as well.
Tiffany Stratton?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And Lyra should be up there now. But she's not.
No, she's not.
But anyway, guys, that's a wrap up. Until next time, catch you guys later.